Hello again, welcome back to the Old English class. We are continuing with the lesson in celebration of being alive. In this video lesson, we are going to cover the second half of the lesson where Dr. Bernard finally finds an answer to the question that he had been seeking for. In the first video, we have seen how Dr. Bernard was asking the question why people have to suffer. In spite of a lot of experiences, personal as well as looking at other suffering, he was not able to find an answer as to why this has to happen or why people have to suffer. But finally he was able to get an answer, and that is the incident that happened at the same hospital where he was serving, that is the Cape Town's Red Cross Children's Hospital. And this incident made a very big impact in his life. Finally, his eyes were open to suffering, and he also got the mental peace and solace that he had been seeking for. So what is that incident? He's going to share us in the next few paragraphs. So the incident that the doctor is talking about happened one morning at the hospital where he was working, that is the Red Cross Children's Hospital in Cape Town. That particular morning he saw two of the young patients leaving their bed and then taking advantage of a breakfast trolley that was left behind by one of the nurses unattended. So what did these two boys, who are referred to as the mechanic and the driver by the doctor, they started playing with it like a racing car. The mechanic was the one who was pushing from behind with his head down, and the driver took the lower deck of the trolley, and with his one arm he was steering the trolley all over the corridors and the wards of the hospital. They took their position so perfectly. Why? Because the mechanic was blind and the driver had only one arm. What followed next, according to the doctor, was a scene that was more entertaining than the Indianapolis 500 car race. These two boys, they were pushing around the trolley, and it attracted the attention of all the other children at the hospital who were cheering them and encouraging them to go for more. It came to an end only when one of the nurses stopped them, and then they were scolded and taken back to their beds. So this incident, according to the doctor, was something very simple and very basic, but it made a huge impact in his life. In the next two paragraphs, the doctor is telling us more about the two boys. He starts with the mechanic. The mechanic is a 7-year-old boy, and the circumstances that led to his blindness was when one night both his parents, who were drunk, had a fight. And in the process of the fighting, his mother threw a lantern at his father, which missed him. Instead, it landed on the boy, and he suffered third-degree burns. He was burned in the head as well as the shoulders. And his present state was such that, according to the doctor, he was looking like a walking horror, with a disfigured face, with skin flapping about, with his neck and jaw joined by fibrous tissues, and he had even difficulty in opening his mouth. In order to do that, he had to raise his head. So this was the condition of the mechanic. But in spite of all this, he was laughing away, and he was still very excited at the entertainment that he and his friend brought to the other children. He came to the doctor and told him that they have won the race. On the other hand, the doctor says that he knows the driver better than the mechanic. Why? Because he had come to the hospital for the second time. The first time he came was when he had a hole in his heart, and that was closed by the doctor. And he had come to the hospital for a second time. Why? Because this time he had cancer in his bones, and because of that reason he ended up amputating, or one of his arm was cut off. So this was the physical situation of the two boys. But in spite of all this, they were very happily enjoying every moment of their lives. The driver came to the doctor and told him very proudly and very confidently that their race was a success, and he was also talking about how it could have been better if the wheels of the trolley were oiled properly. So this was the condition of the two boys who were whose actions brought about big change in the life of the doctor. The doctor concludes the essay by saying that he learned a very deep lesson from the two children. They taught him exactly how we should live our lives. According to him, life is not about seeking for pleasure or recreation or amusement. Instead, we should seek for the joy and happiness that comes from within. He says that the real business of living is the celebration of being alive. Everybody should be thankful that you are alive, and as long as you are alive, you should focus on doing good, on the good things, focus on the good things, and live our life positively and make a positive impact on the people around you. He also says that all in the past he had been looking at suffering from the wrong end, always complaining and always asking questions about suffering. But now he had come to realize what his father had told him about suffering, and that is, only when we experience suffering we become a better person. A person who experiences suffering is the one who knows exactly how to grow as a better human being. He says that we appreciate light only when we know darkness, or we appreciate warmth only when we know cold. So in this way, we should focus with the things that we are left with. These two children taught him that we should not waste our time thinking about what had happened in the past or what we have lost. Instead, we have to live our life to the fullest with what we are left with. So that is the lesson, and there we conclude the explanation. Thank you.